sampler. Sampler meaning we can take a gas sample from in vivo and ex vivo objects, and we can measure carbon dioxide, oxygen, we can measure relative humidity and temperature. Automated meaning we have the objects, we hook them up to the machine, and then we set the program and it runs automatically, okay? So we don't have to stay around the machine and we can go about our business. We can measure growing spawn because we don't reintroduce the sample taken into the growing spawn, so we don't have to worry about contamination. And we have real-time monitoring, okay? So we take a sample, we run it over the sensors, and then we can see on a computer screen what the sensors are detecting. This is really helpful because if something is wrong, something is off, we immediately notice this and we can adjust accordingly. Okay? It's a calibrated system, so in between trials we will use standard gases to recalibrate our sensors. And during a trial we will also sample ambient air, and we consider this a standard gas because it's pretty standard at 21% oxygen and about 400 to 800 ppm in carbon dioxide. Okay, it's repeatable, meaning that if we have 10 objects that have undergone the same treatment, we will get the same or identical results over and over again. Why is it not always identical, especially for the in vivo objects? We are all working with a growing organism. It doesn't always behave the way that we expect it to be, of course. It is reproducible. We have noticed that if we run the same trial a couple of times, like over and over again, we will also get the same or identical results. We work very hard to achieve it, and we're very proud of it. This is what it looks like for in vivo trials. So we have the bags on a shelf, we hook them up to the machine with tubing, and then we can measure gas concentrations inside the bag. Okay, so about the trial, we try to find out what the influence is of restricted gas exchange on the carbon dioxide and oxygen levels in growing spawn. For this we used the Sucker 2 flagship model, the industry staple, the zipper extraordinaire. It's the PPD75 RU6 X3257. Okay, so don't worry, the name, it makes sense, well, at least to us. If you have questions about it, you can come see us at our booth. So we filled it with a standard recipe of mycelia, which is a mixture of seeds and grains. We inoculated it with 100 grams of inoculum of M2181, which is a Bilotis ostratus strain. We shake the bags to redistribute the inoculum into the spawn, and then we incubate it standing upright. Okay. The difference between the objects is that in 5 of these objects we restricted gas exchange by taking 5 filters. So we have a situation of 1 filtered bags versus 6 filtered bags. And this is what the data looks like. It's large enough. Okay, so you can immediately see the difference between 6 filtered bags and 1 filtered bags. 1 filtered bags. Let's focus on the 6 filtered bags first. As you can see, the first 24 hours, there is a slight increase in carbon dioxide. But it is relatively constant. So picture this, you are sitting around with your friends and family, you have all the snacks available to you, it's nice and warm and humid, and then somebody comes and knocks you on the head, tosses you about, and separates you from your family by introducing you to a whole new environment. My guess is that you would be in shock, and so is the mycelium. The mycelium is in shock, but it's still breathing. Okay, so first 24 hours we call lag phase. Nothing really is going on, but the mycelium is still a little bit active. Okay, from 24 hours to 48 hours, we see a steady increase in carbon dioxide. We call this the leap-off phase, first visible growth. So carbon dioxide concentrations increase, and then at 48 hours, we start to see exponential growth, exponential increase in carbon dioxide. You see that these curves, they go up really quickly, right up until about the 100-hour mark, about 48 days after inoculation. And then at 100 hours, we have a tipping point. Okay, so at 100 hours, we see that these concentrations, they start to level off. What we noticed, if we looked at the bags, and this is consolidation, so it's completely colonized, and then the mycelial net starts to thicken, the hyphae reinforce each other, and activity decreases. As you may notice, we have these slides of fluctuations in carbon dioxide. We had a good long think about that, why that was happening, until one of my bright colleagues, Frederick, he mentioned that maybe we should plot the temperature graph, and which we did. And you can see the temperature graph up here. You can see it has the same fluctuations. Okay, so you might wonder, why are you not doing this in a climatized room? And I wonder myself, but it's not possible yet. Maybe if my management is sitting over there, maybe if we all gang up on them, I will get my climatized room for this groundbreaking research. Okay, so this is what's happening in the 6 filtered bags. Now, if we look at the 1 filtered bags, we don't really see the same phases. They are not as straightforward, but we do see that there's an increase in carbon dioxide straight away. That's because the bags just lack the filtration area to exchange the carbon dioxide to the outside. Okay. We also notice that they have the same tipping point at about 100 hours after inoculation, which is very interesting to me. We don't really know why yet. We have to do more research on that. Okay, so you'll notice that we go to about 16% for 6 filtered bags in carbon dioxide and 24% for 1 filtered bags. There are huge, very high concentrations. And then if we take a look at the oxygen, if I quickly cycle between, you will notice that they kind of follow the same pattern, only in the opposite direction. So again, first 24 hours lag phase, then next 24 hours we have leap off, and then it goes exponentially down. For 1 filtered bags, we actually go down to about 1% in oxygen in the center of the substrate. For 6 filtered bags, we are about 10%. Okay, same fluctuations for the 6 filtered bags. They are not as pronounced in the 1 filtered bags. And you can see the ambient air plot, which is the orange up top, consistent at about 21%. So for us, that means that what we are measuring is actually correct because we have that ambient air sample. Okay, so we have made a small time lapse of the growth. So again, the lag phase, there is no visible growth. Then leap off phase, 24 to 48 hours, you can see that the colonies, they start to become more white, they start to increase in size. Please bear in mind that these are averages taking over multiple tests. So they're a little bit off, but it proves the point. And then we have full colonization, 48 hours to 100 hours. The block starts to widen. And then we move into the consolidation phase at about 100 hours. There are some funky, they're not really noticeable here on the screen, but there are some funky colors there, but that's just a reflection of the light on the plastic. We found that it's very difficult to take good pictures of stuff behind plastic. Okay, so in conclusion, we are very proud of our setup. We find that the trials that we run, they are affordable, which is of course very important. They are repeatable and reproducible, which is of course very important. We don't have a lot of issues with contamination because our contamination rate is below 1%, which is like half a miracle by itself because we're working in one of the corners of our warehouse. And then most importantly, I think, is that we are measuring actively in what is going on in growing swan. We are not using Petri plates and a climatized room and sensing the climate in those rooms. It's actively measuring carbon dioxide and oxygen levels in growing swan. Okay. What are our future plans? As you can see on the slide, they are wide open. Okay, we are just at the beginning of this research. I want to take this to substrate next, like a more lignicolous substrate, higher carbon levels as opposed to nitrogen in the spawn. We can use this to design new bags specifically tailored to situations. And maybe it's possible to detect contaminations at an early stage. So if you want to be a part of this, please reach out to me, to us. My contact details are here. I think you can also find me at our booth. I think it's 105. Who doesn't know, but it's 105. If you get into the room, we're all the way down to the left. Okay? So please remember, if you leave this place, my management again is sitting right there. Help me get my climatized room. Okay? Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I will go ahead and take them.
Thank you very much, Jan. We're a bit ahead of schedule.